Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ben Van Gorder. This is my debate rebuttal on the topic of whether or not we should or should not invade and intervene in Myanmar. And by we, I mean states in general, not just the United States, but international organizations and other countries across the world. Today, I'm going to be doing a rebuttal against Charlotte, Canada. That's embarrassing. My mistake, if you're watching. And she actually put together an excellent presentation that had some very good arguments about why we should not intervene. And it is my opinion and my position that we should. And so I'm going to be walking you through some of her arguments today. And I'm going to be giving some reasons either why they're invalid or why they're good points. We're just going to go through them, one at a time here and work through those. So the first point that was made really was that China doesn't want to share a border with a country that's going to be allied to the United States. And she actually made a very good argument. She had a wonderful slideshow that was set out. It was very good, lots of visual representation, which unfortunately I don't have for you today. But she put together a very nice presentation, and she referenced the when we were involved in Korea, how they didn't want to share a border with they backed North Korea because they didn't want to share a border with South Korea, which is obviously a United States ally. And she also referenced, here we see that Myanmar shares a border with China. So if we were to invade, China might become involved. She mentioned that there is a lot more involvement in Myanmar by China itself. And so that maybe they should do something, about it, which I would say they should do something about it. This is something that is obviously we both agree, and it was admitted that there are atrocities being committed against the Rohingya Muslims, and that I do think that China should get involved. And so, given the question, you could say that Miss Miss Canada, sort of agrees with me on this point that maybe Canada or maybe China should get involved. Um, so my basic rebuttal to this is that they're not sharing a border with the United States. They're sharing a border with Myanmar. And Myanmar, while we are here to defend democracy, we have not been best of friends with them for a very long time. They're nowhere close to anything like South Korea. South Korea, we're very common trading partners with, and we're on very good terms with them. While in Myanmar, even before it was basically a military state now, back when there was democracy in 2014 set up, there was still some of the atrocities being committed against these people. So it's not really on the same level as South Korea and North Korea. That's not really a great metaphor to use. I don't think that they would have a problem sharing a border with Myanmar, even if it's the democracy that's been set up by the United States. Another really good point that she made was that we've had a lot of unsuccessful attempts to reinstate democracy in other instances, such as Vietnam. Um, and because of the trouble that we've had in those, we won't be able to win this war. Um, Here's what I'm going to say about that. Two things. One, a lot of those wars were a long time ago, and we didn't have the same kind of mapping and technological advancements that we have now. Drone technology was not a thing back then, and our ability to explore the jungle terrain and things like that with drones, even ones that you might see like smaller drones, could be a very large advantage that is the difference between whether or not we can win this war or not. And the second point of that is it doesn't matter whether or not we can win. Uh, the United Nations, as I believe they should intervene, has already signed sort of an agreement and made it their mission to, basically go against what Miss Canada believes is happening, and she admitted is happening, which is racially and ethnically motivated cleansing and atrocities committed against these Rohingya Muslims. So it doesn't really matter whether or not we can win or not. We have an obligation to do so because we've said that's our mission and that's what we're here to do. If you only stand up in situations where you think that you can win, you're not really, trying to defend an ideal. You're trying to defend yourself. So we're here to, the United Nations is here to stop precisely what's happening, and they should do so, and they should make an attempt at least. It doesn't really matter whether or not we're going to win. Obviously, we'd like to win, but they've already made that commitment to stand against this, and so, it doesn't really matter if we're going to win or not. And lastly, the point that she brought up was that the people of Myanmar would not be very supportive of us being there, and this particular point, to me, is offset by the simple fact that we are there to reinstate the democracy that they apparently love, because there's already been 12,000, or excuse me, 1,200 supporters of the democracy that have been protesting this this military regime that's been set up now, that it died. And so we know that there's passion and fire there within the Myanmar people because they're willing to die to get their democracy back. So, even if this help is coming from the United States, which, as I discussed earlier, they're not huge fans of, they would still be willing to work with us on that, given the fact that we're there to put back into place the candidate they elected, and that they elected, by the way, with an 83% popular vote margin. So they're very, very fond of this leader. And if we're there to implement that leader back in, I see no reason why they wouldn't be supportive of us doing so. They clearly do not like the military acting in the way that they do. So that is my rebuttal. Let me know any questions, comments, concerns, and of course, compliments that you have. Thank you very much.